You said you were sorry. You were sorry, but not you were sorry for what you did.
Sharp words from the judge as she handed down the maximum sentence, 18 months, for the Arizona woman who was in charge of guns on the movie Rust. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed of Bullhead City was found guilty of manslaughter for the deaths of the movie's cinematographer.
Actor Alec Baldwin was holding the gun when it went off on the set in New Mexico. So the question is, what does this mean for Baldwin, who will stand trial for the same charges in just a few months? True crime correspondent Briana Whitney has been following this case. Briana, so what are the takeaways here?
Yeah, there's several. So today's sentencing for Hannah Gutierrez-Reed shows how serious the judge took what happened and what she perceived was Gutierrez-Reed's lack of guilt, in return showing her no mercy or leniency with prison time. Alec Baldwin will be tried by a different judge this summer, but today's sentence might have been exactly what Baldwin and his legal team were looking for.
The word remorse, a deep regret, coming from a sense of guilt for past wrongs. That's not you.
No mincing words Monday for the judge as she explained what led to her decision to hand down an 18-month maximum sentence for involuntary manslaughter to Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed.
Halyna has been and always will be an inspiration to me.
Gutierrez-Reed asking for probation, calling what happened on the 2021 movie set a product of lack of time, resources, and staffing, but telling the judge she did her best to handle it. Hutchins died when Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger of what was supposed to be a prop gun, but was loaded with a live bullet, striking and killing Hutchins. The judge not buying the armorer's plea.
You alone turned a safe weapon into a lethal weapon. But for you, Miss Hutchins would be alive, a husband would have his partner, and a little boy would have his mother.
So camera left for you.
I'll stand right here for you.
So whip it out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me get this all greased and ready.
Could the judge's words of "you alone" play a part in actor Alec Baldwin's upcoming trial for the same involuntary manslaughter charge?
Somebody died, and a jury is naturally, the public in general, naturally wants to hold somebody responsible for that. So it makes it very convenient for Mr. Baldwin that there is a person who's already been held responsible.
Criminal defense attorney Russ Richelsoph, unaffiliated with the case, says Baldwin's team will absolutely point fingers at the armorer for the fatal accident, and with her convicted and sentenced, he says that makes their defense even stronger. Richelsoph says it would likely take a certain set of circumstances for the court to find Baldwin equally responsible for Hutchins' death as the armorer herself.
If he had some management responsibility and concerns were brought to his attention and he didn't address them properly, or he was responsible for hiring somebody who wasn't qualified, that could be, a stronger basis for a conviction against him.
But Richelsoph says if the person whose job it was to handle and manage weapons on set is now sitting in prison for the crime, Alec Baldwin's case just grew stronger.
The fact that she's been convicted helps him because somebody has already been held responsible.
The prosecutor also brought up Gutierrez-Reed's apparent lack of remorse on calls she made from jail, while Halyna Hutchins' former agent and friends gave victim impact statements today in court. Alec Baldwin's trial is set to begin on July 10th, guys.
So when it does come to remorse, how will that play any role in Baldwin's case?
Yeah, I was talking to Russ Richelsoph about that because that's something that is subjective, right? People show remorse or show emotions in different ways, but he said that because the judge brought that up so much today in Hannah Gutierrez-Reed sentencing, he believes that if Alec Baldwin is found guilty in his trial, that his defense attorneys would absolutely make sure he was ready basically to show remorse in this case, that would not be a part that would be played in his trial because they'd be prepared for it knowing what just happened here. So that's interesting there too, because if you don't have that component, if there is true remorse from Alec Baldwin shown during trial when there's assumably so many cameras that will be on him, then what would be a possibility for the judge to say in that incident?
It's still so chilling to see the video of him holding the gun from one of those takes on set there. Any idea, do they have any idea of how the bullets ended up in the gun? That's still a mystery, right? How this happened?
That's still a mystery. That's what she said during this too, that there were actually a couple couple different ones, and so they were looking at these different bullets, and they showed pictures of them too in court during the trial. You could see the tops of them being different. Now, maybe from the naked eye, from people who aren't trained in ballistics, we might not be able to tell, but when you saw them up close, when they were putting those pictures on the screen in the courtroom, it was obvious that they were different, and somebody who is trained in that should have caught that no matter what else was going on the set. And so clearly that played into the jury's conviction, their verdict of her being guilty for involuntary manslaughter.
Wow. And why were they there in the first place?
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of unanswered questions. Briana, thank you.
Thanks.